Albrecht Durer. When you think about art, some of the first things that might come to mind are painting and drawing. Or maybe you think about the Renaissance era, where some of the most notable artists are recognized, such as Albrecht Dürer. He gained the title of being one of the most famous artists of the Northern Renaissance by successfully integrating an elaborately detailed Northern style with Italian Renaissance's ideals of balance, coherence, and monumentality. Albrecht Dürer was a German painter, establishing a reputation and influence around Europe during the Renaissance periods. Albrecht Dürer was a man of extraordinary abilities and boundless passion. On May 21, 1471, he was born in Nuremberg, Germany. Later in his life, his father had him working in his goldsmith shop. His talent for art started to show at the age of 13 in 1484 when he created his first self-portrait. As he began to travel for his career, he went to the Netherlands, Alsace, France, and to Basel, Switzerland. In 1494, he returned to Nuremberg and married Agnes Frey. His first trip to Italy took place later that year. While he was there, he painted numerous watercolor landscapes. Following the trip, his artworks began to have aspects of Italian art because of what he learned there. Inspired by his trips to Italy, his engraving The Four Witches from 1497 and the engraving Adam and Eve from 1504 both exhibit characteristics of his travels. Young Jesus with the Doctors, created in 1506, contains aspects of Bellini's work that he gained from his second trip to Italy in 1505. In 1526, The Four Apostles, his finest painting, was created. While eventually mastering his own style and techniques and going on to be titled Master of the Renaissance, like most artists, Albrecht Dürer had many influences that shaped him into the internationally acclaimed artist that he is today. Albrecht Dürer learned about and studied mathematics from his father, and he picked up painting from his godfather. It is a common belief that artists and mathematicians cannot reconcile and are incompatible, much like oil and water. Dürer stands as a testament of the possible cohesive union between the two. Dürer made several significant contributions to mathematics, science, and literature. He did this by publishing works about the principles of mathematics, perspective, and ideal proportions. Dürer also included mathematics into his art as a way of expressing an ultimate truth. A perfect example of this feat would be one of Dürer's three master prints, Melancholia I. In this piece, one of his most famous engravings, Dürer attempts to depict inner conflict within himself, which also makes this piece a kind of self-portrait. Melancholia I presents an asymmetrical balance and sharp contrast, demonstrating light and texture. In fact, this piece is still debated among scholars today, as they have spent centuries analyzing the truncated rhombohedron or leaning cube shape seen on the left within the piece. This shape is now known as Dürer's solid and is part of a larger mathematical theory called the Dürer graph. Around 15 years old, as Dürer took up painting, he developed his skills significantly during his apprenticeship under Michael Wohlgemuth, a well-known painter and woodcutter. During his trips to Italy in 1495 and 1505, he beheld the works of great prominent artists such as Lorenzo di Credi, Mantegna, and Antonio Poleolo, among others. Dürer once wrote that Giovanni Bellini was the best artist, and Albrecht Dürer drew inspiration from him. Dürer was raised Catholic. However, Dürer was highly interested in the work of Martin Luther. Some of Luther's ideas appeared as motifs and concepts in some of Dürer's work. Being one of the most dominant artists of the early 16th century, Albrecht Dürer has inspired many artists. One of these artists inspired by Dürer was Hans Baldung Green. In 1503, Hans Baldung Green moved to Nuremberg and became a member of Albrecht Dürer's workshop. During this time, Baldung absorbed and learned Dürer's style of art, and he helped produce designs for stained glass, woodcuts, and engravings. Dürer and Baldung remained lifelong friends, and Baldung incorporated some of Dürer's styles into his own artwork throughout his career. Like Dürer, Baldung's work mainly consists of woodcuts and paintings, and he was also well known for his drawings. Another artist inspired by Durer is Albrecht Aldorfer. Aldorfer's engravings and drawings first appeared in 1506 and were followed in 1507 by several small paintings. His woodcut production began in 1511. In 1509, Albrecht Aldorfer painted the wings on an altarpiece for the monastery of St. Florian in Linz. Aldorfer's work also resembles the influence of artists such as Lucas Cranach the Elder and Michael Pocker. Although there is no evidence for a trip to Italy, it is evident that Aldorfer utilized Italian Nello work and the engravings of Marcantonio Raimondi and Andrea Mantegna. The very soul of Durer can be seen in his art, and when accompanied by the brilliant techniques he utilized, the result was nothing short of spectacular. Albrecht Durer, unlike many of the artists of his time, prioritized the more intimate aspects of art, an example being his famous self-portrait, where instead of facing at a standard three-quarter view, he is facing forward towards the viewer, as if to acknowledge their existence. In other pieces, such as the praying hands, we can see the muscles of the hands that hide behind a tight layer of skin, along with the protruding veins that give them the illusion of warmth. Albrecht Durer was certainly prioritized capturing the realistic parts of the things he painted and sketched, and you can almost feel the life bursting from the subject matter, no matter what that subject matter may be. An important contribution Albrecht Durer made to art history is being one of the first artists to add a watermark or signature in his work. Durer typically wrote his initials in small letters in the corner of his art pieces. Albrecht Durer created lasting impacts on several aspects of art and art history throughout his life. These include contributions to woodcut engravings, the popularization of mathematical forms in artwork, challenging the concept of self-portraits of the time, as well as being one of the first non-Italian artists to apply contemporary, philosophical, medical, theological, and humanism ideas in his paintings. Albrecht Durer went on to influence many artists that came after him, an example being Gustave Doré. Gustave Doré was a French artist known for his printmaking, illustrations, paintings, and sculptures. Best known for his wood engravings, one of his most impressive feats is depicting 241 stories from the Bible. Jacob wrestling with the angel is a well-known example of one of these Bible depictions. Doré choosing to depict religious scenes is thought to be inspired by Durer's work. An example of one of these inspired works would be Adam and Eve leaving paradise, which is similar to Durer's Adam and Eve. When compared side by side, the viewer can see the similarities in the hatching styles and depictions of foliage. Doré is the best-known artist in this printmaking technique with a style similar to Durer. Albrecht Durer's influence carries on even into today's age. In 2013, artist Michael Price created Homage to Durer, Melancholia 3, and Divine Inspiration. When compared to Durer's original Melancholia 1, the two pieces are overwhelmingly similar. While the styles differ as Price experimented with color and varying mediums, the narrative of both pieces remains alike. After learning about Albrecht Durer's life and reviewing his artworks and contributions to art history, it is easy to see what makes his style so special. His attention to detail and line work in his pieces, even in his study sketches, were riveting. Having shown potential as an artist at a young age, Durer went on to become an artist that inspired many and transcends time. Thank you for watching.